But instead of collaborating on bipartisan, middle-class-focused tax reform, and instead of heeding the warnings of economists, the Congressional Budget Office, and even our own constituents, congressional Republicans chose to enact massive tax cuts for the wealthy and large corporations.
There hasn't been any meaningful growth, wage growth, as they promised. We aren't seeing millions of jobs added to the economy as a result of the cuts as they promised. We aren't seeing a major economic boost, certainly not one that offsets the revenue decreases we are now facing as they promised.
Americans would receive on average $4,000 in additional household income every year. We now know that not only do Americans have good reason to be asking, where's my $4,000? Or as Secretary Mnuchin put it, it'd be $4,500 that we'd be getting, because in fact, the estimates I've seen is that over 95% of American workers have not received any bonuses or any wage hikes due to this Republican tax law.
What we've seen are companies investing more than $1 trillion in stock buybacks. That's over 130 times the $7.1 billion corporations have given workers.
The tax scheme that was passed by the prior Congress gave a temporary tax benefit to small business, but gave a permanent tax break to big corporations.
For American families, this law is a huge and predictable failure. For the federal budget, it's a huge and predictable drain. And that's because the premise on which this tax legislation was built, that it would magically pay for itself, is fundamentally flawed.
Have these tax cuts been deficit neutral?
Every reputable organization that's looked at this has found that the tax cuts, lo and behold, reduce revenues.
Some of my friends across the aisle have already been rehearsing their calls to pay for the tax cuts by making cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
And, you know, we've seen over and over again in both the statements and the budget proposals of people who supported the 2017 tax law that their preferred way of dealing with deficits is to cut programs that, you know, on average help families of limited means.